Have you ever noticed that when you're on an online space such as social media, we're fairly free and liberal with the compliments and praise we give people? Whether it's a simple like or a double tap or maybe even a comment in the comment box, we just seem that we're a little bit more comfortable to give that acknowledgement to people. Yet when we have opportunity after opportunity in our daily lives, we seem to let those opportunities just pass right by. For example, I was recently at my son's school dropping him off, and I saw another mom walking up ahead of me who I didn't know that well. And I thought to myself, she looks good. She is fit, she must work out all the time, she probably eats a super healthy, meal plan. I mean, she looks good. And I thought about telling her all of those nice things, but instead I decided to think about all the reasons why I shouldn't. She's too far ahead of me, she's gonna think it's weird if I flag her down, and I don't really know her that well, and what if she thinks I'm hitting on her, right? So many reasons why I decided, okay, not gonna do it. And so I let it pass. Well, later that day, we ended up becoming friends on Facebook. It also happened to be the day that she decided to post this beautiful testimony about this journey she's been through on health and fitness. Amazing before and after, right? Well, what I thought about in this moment was what a huge opportunity I missed earlier that day to pay her a genuine, unexpected compliment. Sure, I could still do it now. I could like it or maybe even write a comment, but I'm sure you can all agree it just wouldn't feel the same, right? I know her story now, and it's just more expected. It's things like this and other situations that make me think about our culture in general, where not only are we more likely to give our praise via social media, but we're also more likely to ask for it. Social media has literally become the socially acceptable way to fish for compliments. Whether it's the guy at the gym posting his selfie after his workout, or the mom who's posted a family picture of the activity straight from Pinterest, we all go to social media to get the affirmation we need. And we're all guilty to some degree, and I am certainly no exception. Here I am on the way to a party with my husband, and I tried on new lipstick, so of course I have to snap a selfie and put it on Facebook, right? And as you can see, got the likes. I even got some comments specifically about my lipstick. One says, "Give me your lipstick." So nailed it, right? Then there's this one where I'm clearly showing that I'm a cool mom and not even potty training can get me down, right? Likes, compliments, nailed it again. Then there's my favorite mechanism where at the end of the year, some social media platforms will literally compile all the photos and see which ones had the most likes for the year. They'll put it in this cute little collage for you so you can post it and get likes for the likes you already got. Hopefully, I've painted a pretty clear picture here that we go to social media to get that compliment and praise because unfortunately, it just doesn't happen in our normal lives. And so what I propose is that we take it offline. What if instead of fishing for compliments, we started catching them? What if instead of something nice about someone, instead of keeping that inside, what if we actually told them? Well, I thought about it, and so I decided to do just that. For the past year, I decided if I think something nice about someone, I'm going to tell them. Whether they're in my inner circle, my family, friends, coworkers, or total strangers on the street, I'm just going to do it. And I learned some pretty amazing things throughout that process that I'd like to share with you today in hopes that you will join me in saying it out loud as well. So the first lesson is, it might be awkward. In fact, it probably will be. I've literally walked up to a stranger and said, "I like the shape of your eyebrows." Okay, it can be awkward. And I understand that many of you here may be thinking, I'm an introvert to people. In fact, if you have an opportunity, elevator goes a little bit slower to let that one pass and get onto the, right? And here I am, not only asking you to get on the elevator, but to put your phone down, look at someone, and maybe say something nice. It's certainly not lost on me that it's way outside of people's comfort zones. But the great part is, no matter what risk to your discomfort, there is always a benefit to putting yourself out there and saying it out loud. I've literally never left a moment thinking, yeah, totally shouldn't have said that one. And believe me, there have been some awkward ones. If you feel like perhaps talking about someone's appearance is really out of your comfort zone, there's always an opportunity to talk about someone's to appreciate or even their behavior. So for example, if you see someone holding a door for someone else, why not take that moment to say, wow, that was really nice of you to do that. It's most likely that that compliment is going to encourage that person to continue that behavior. Think about what a difference we could make in our community if we started doing that. The second lesson that I learned is the least expected equals most appreciated. Now, when we think about it, when we post our pictures on social media, it's our best one we've ever taken, right? We want the world to think we're amazing. In fact, I know a lot of people who will literally take 20 takes of the same picture and pick which one's the best and put that one up. And when we get a compliment in that space, but it's a little bit cheapened because we expect it at that point. Have you ever had a moment where you weren't feeling your greatest and that happened the day that said something to you? Recently, my friend and I were in an elevator and I saw a gal next to me and she seemed kind of down, and so I thought, all right, here's my moment, I'm gonna say something. She turned and said, I really like your hair. And the response, I something that was unexpected. She actually started laughing. And she turned to my friend and I and said, that's really funny because I've literally had the most hectic weekend and I've not washed my hair in days. And I literally curled my hair enough just to make it appropriate enough to go to work. And so we all, had a moment and we connected and we laughed because who's not washed their hair in 2 days? I'm sure everybody. But the great thing I learned about that moment was that she had a completely different demeanor as she walked outside of the elevator than before I had said something to her. It made a difference. So I encourage you to look for opportunities where unexpected. The third lesson I learned is that simple does not mean insignificant. I often find that we will think something nice about someone, but brush it off in our mind saying, well, it's so small, it's not going to make a difference, right? But I can assure you, we actually never know the value of something we can say to somebody else. For example, I was recently at a McDonald's on my way to work, and I stopped by for a quick coffee. And as the woman handed me the coffee through the drive-thru, I noticed her nail polish. And I'm sure you're thinking, nail polish, that is so simple. That's what you're going to compliment? But yes, that's the great thing about Say It Out Loud, is it doesn't need to be this big, elaborate thing. It can be something So as she handed me the coffee, I said, wow, I really like your nail polish. And again, the reaction was something I could have never anticipated. With tears in her eyes, she started to tell me about how she had never in her life been able to afford to get her nails professionally painted. But because she was able to get this job at McDonald's a while back, she finally was able to treat herself to something that she wanted to do for herself. And while I thought I was just complimenting something simple, her nails, that was a visual representation of her success, her determination, financial freedom. And it really just showed me that what we may think is simple could be so significant to someone else. It was such an amazing moment and one that I will certainly not forget. So, you really never know what the impact of your words can mean on someone, and I'm actually a great example of that today. About a year ago, I decided to put a TED Talk on my bucket list. And at the time, that seemed really strange because I'm no philosopher or public speaker or anything like that. It seemed very, very far-fetched. But later, an email arrived in my inbox with instructions on how to apply. And of course, I first initially went to all the reasons why I shouldn't and kind of sat for a while and tried to convince myself not to. But then, out of nowhere, a compliment that someone had paid me a while back popped into my mind. A friend of mine had said, Jenna, you're brave. At the time she told me that, I thought, I'm not really sure if that's me. And she went on to tell me that I often put myself in situations that a lot of other people wouldn't. So in that moment, instead of continuing to think bad about why I shouldn't do it, I decided to own that compliment and to be brave. And because one person said something to me in that moment, I'm literally checking off my bucket list, that far-fetched bucket list right now. So, what sort of impact could your words have on someone else? There's about 100 people here today, and if each one of you decided to say it out loud to one person for a year, that would be over 36,000 people who would be lifted up and recognized. Think about what we could do for our community. I'm sure you're familiar with the phrase, if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all. Well, today I'd like to leave you with a new one. If you have something nice to say it out loud. Thank you.